Hi Mr. Ball, this is my TOK culminating final project. So starting with Unit 1, I completed the Nature of Knowledge project, This I Believe, where I said that I believe friendship is the most valuable thing anyone can ever have. So a quote that I took from my PowerPoint was, men kick friendship around like a football, but it doesn't seem to crack. Women treat it like glass and it goes to pieces. So I think this is very interesting and very true. Why? I'm not exactly sure, but football is just a very open sport. Everything's just out there on the field, nothing fragile or delicate about it. It's a very in-your-face kind of thing, which is kind of how guys are. I mean, it's just, you say something that makes me mad, you're gonna get it back, you know? It's kind of like a karma thing. Meanwhile, women are just slinking around, like trying to please everybody, trying to please themselves, just putting that glass on a pedestal, and it's just bound to fall and break due to all the behind the scenes gossiping and all kinds of things like that. So I thought that was really interesting and true. A linking question for this unit is, should we trust eyewitness evidence? So if you ask any psychologist, they're bound to say,
"No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!"
so you might be thinking, why would they say no so adamantly? So one thing that you have to take into account is that, I'm trying to set up my next video example, is that the weapons effect. So the weapons effect is if any eyewitness sees some kind of crime going on, a robbery, an assault, whatever, if the criminal has some kind of weapon, no matter what it may be, a gun or a knife or a sword, their main focus will be on the weapon, just keeping track of that weapon, seeing where it's pointed, where it's going, because I mean that's in your own self-interest to figure out what the hell that guy's gonna do with whatever weapon he has. Unfortunately, while you're focusing on that weapon, you're not focusing on his facial features, how tall he is, his race, his eye color, whatever you can see that will potentially help the police. So that's something that doesn't help eyewitness accounts. Another thing is that police are actually asked, while questioning eyewitnesses to find out more about the criminal, not to suggest features. Like, for example, they're not supposed to ask you, was he wearing glasses? Did he have brown hair? Because if you think about that too much, you're immediately gonna be like, oh yeah, no, you're right, I think he was wearing glasses, even if he wasn't. So that's misleading. So an example of this is in the movie Taken, where this guy asks his daughter to help him out so that he can help her in the long run. You'll have to watch the movie. The plot is just way too intense. So here is a short snippet from the scene from Taken. Oops.
All right, listen to me. Oh, God. Did you meet anyone on the plane? No. In the airport? No. Yes, Peter. Peter who? I don't know. All right. Do you know where you were staying? He took a cab with us. I'm scared. I know you are. Stay focused, Kimmy. You have to hold it together. How many people are there? Be precise. 3, 4, I don't know. Where are you?
So, that was the scene from Taken. Super intense movie. But she proceeds to be kidnapped, but before she does, she leaves her phone on the floor like her dad asks and shouts out hair color, beard, height, all kinds of things that will help him be able to find her kidnappers in the long run, which he does, and it has a beautiful ending. So, moving on to another example of how eyewitnesses aren't reliable. The Innocence Project was founded in the United States in 1990, and by 2008, this project helped 220 criminals go free and prove their innocence, and 75% of these convicted people were convicted because of eyewitness miscalculations, mistaken eyewitness identification, So, in this one case, this guy, Larry Youngblood, was convicted basically by the eyewitness account of a 10-year-old boy who said that his assaulter, the guy who assaulted him and raped him, had a disfigured eye. So in a lineup, this Youngblood guy was the only guy with a disfigured eye, and so lo and behold, the poor 10-year-old kid picks him. Unfortunately, it was the wrong guy. It was a totally other guy who was blind in one eye. Totally different story, but the police took eyewitness evidence from a 10-year-old over DNA evidence, which never even got checked until later, which is what the Innocence Project does to free these guys, or women, whoever. So I think that's really cool. Second unit, sense perception. I did a color project. So in my project, I tried to get music videos that had a predominant color theme in them and see if listeners could match the color to the video. Unfortunately, it didn't go as I'd planned at all. No one got anything right except my boyfriend, which was intriguing because I thought that a woman's intuition would be better on this, but it wasn't. So I have little clips. This is the Blue music video, which was Into the Ocean by Blue October. This was Katy Perry's Part of Me, where I said the predominating color was army green. Next you have, Green by Brendan James. The color obviously was green. When you have Memory House, their song Lately, which, you can't really see that, but the color was pink. And Lights, February Air, that's distorted too, the color was purple. So I had 3 different volunteers listen to these clips and try to match them. They were all matched incorrectly. Kind of a bummer. Not what I was expecting, but worse things have happened. Third unit, language unit. We did a Language as a Way of Knowing presentation where my partner was Karina, and we discussed how has technology and media changed writing, and what implications does the media and technology have on the view of written language. So that was interesting. We did a whole piece on text speak and why people are beginning to shorten their phrases when in the days of Shakespeare the long language showed education and richness and depth and romance and all kinds of things, and now with this shortened language, it's not romantic, it's not thought-provoking in the least, so why are we using it? Probably for convenience and just speed, which is what we do with everything in our lives in the 21st century. You have fast food, fast internet, fast phones, you have everything at the click of a button, and it's unbelievable. And I mean, now they're even bringing this text speak into books, which they did a couple years ago with this series called TTYL, TTFN, Later Gator, and BFF. So that I think is crazy, and they were actually really inappropriate books for such a low grade of language, so that was just, it's unbelievable. A linking question with this unit was, should offensive language be censored? That's kind of a gray area because a lot of times you'll see on MTV, they'll bleep out the words, but you can still read with their lips and know what they're saying, so why would you censor that? I don't know. I think more of the censoring needs to come from the parents rather than the media. If the celebrities, whoever wants to use filthy language on television, that's their choice and their image, and parents are just going to have to step it up a notch to protect their young kids who they don't want exposed to this kind of thing. It's a bummer, but that's kind of how it is because bleeps really don't do anything. So, fourth language was emotion, where we created a digital museum gallery on 2 emotions. My stronger emotion was fear. Why? Because fear is just such an interesting emotion to me. I'm also using it in my art class as my theme to help inspire me with art. I've created about 4 projects that have to do with that. If you would like to look at them, you can simply go to my Wix page. CamilleEnnis.wix.com/fear. You will come to a page, looks like this, Fear Emotion Gallery. That's a piece of my art. And then you can go and look at all the art I made, and there's a little summary here, and that's actually a piece I made based on fear. And there are a couple of other pages linking fear to music, linking fear to GMOs, genetically modified organisms, which you're eating. Might want to look up on that. And also how fear is demonstrated in different ways in movies, either using lighting or suspense or just pure shock value. It's a universal emotion. It's really interesting. It goes really deep. It can either be surface level or really deep. It can be personal fears, like fears to do with relationships and love, or just broad fears like fear of drowning, fear of spiders, whatever there may be. So a linking question with this unit was, how does your mood affect the way you see things? So this is just an everyday kind of thing. I mean, if you've just watched a scary movie and you're afraid, you're going to think every door creak, every rustle of the leaves outside, every shadow is that clown coming to get you, which really it isn't, but your awareness will be heightened to all the frightening things in your current zone. If you're stressed, probably if anyone says anything to you, it'll sound like a criticism because you're trying just so hard to do whatever you're trying to do that's making you stressed. And I find that if you're happy, you might not notice more, you'll actually probably notice less. At least that's how it is with me. If I'm happy, I probably won't notice the things that usually irritate me as much, which is interesting. You'd think you'd be like, oh, the sky is so blue today, but that's not really how I work at all. But that's just me. So, 14 minutes and 8 seconds into this, I've completed my summarization of TOK Year 1. It was an awesome year. I hope it's this great next year, and I hope I pass so that I can get my IB diploma. Okay, bye Miss Burvall. Have a great summer. I hope this wasn't complete torture for you to watch. Okay, thanks. Bye.